Stahlhart Papercraft.
Hello, I'm Chris from Stahlhart Papercraft. Today I want to introduce you to my simple cars. These cars actually go back to a class project in the 3D design course, where the students learn some basic Blender. And what could be more fun than after you created a model in Blender to actually build that as a paper model in the real world. So what I did, I provided templates for 6 different kinds of cars, and then the students had to build the models in Blender, export them to Illustrator, create the artwork, print them and build them. If you want to create a model yourself in Blender, I have provided the tutorial videos which I created for the course on this channel, and then you can follow the instructions and build them yourself in Blender. I'm also providing Blender files, so that is on one side it will be Blender files which include the 3 view, so you can just work from the 3 view, and I will also provide the finished models as Blender files. And if you are absolutely not into 3D, then you can also just go to my paper model website and download the versions which I have created. They are in 1:32 scale, and of course you can scale them to any size you want. And there are also different versions which we will quickly look at later. So as you can see here on the table, we have very different sizes, ranging from 1 to 60 over here. Then these are, I'm not sure which scale they are. Then this bus is 1 to 30. This taxi is also 1 to 30. Then this is 1 to 32, which was the final scale I choose for the models, also 1 to 30. 1 to 32, 1 to 32. Why are they all different sizes? That's because while I was working on the different versions, I figured out that they are not they're proportionally, the sizes next to each other don't seem exactly correct. So that's why I made some adjustments, and that's why there are different sizes. And it also took a time until I settled on 1 to 32 as a final scale. I thought that 1 to 32 is a good scale because it's still big enough for beginners to build, but it doesn't make sense to make it a lot bigger, like 1 to 24, which is a popular scale for model cars, because there's not a lot of detail. And of course, if you like a challenge, then you can go for the 1 to 60. But remember, these cars are of course aimed at beginners. So with the exception of some small details such as the rear view mirrors, they are pretty easy to build. So let's see what we have here on the table. So here we have some 1 to 60. So this is the bus, and here's the sports car. Actually, the spoiler is missing. Then this is the basic car in just white and as the taxi. And this is the minibus, which is like the typical Chinese style minibus, which is called the Mianbaoche, like the bread car. And here we have the Mini Cooper, which is of course not any actual scale, because when I printed it turned out this scale is much too small. Then here is the Mini EV, which is a Wuling Mini EV. It's a Chinese Volkswagen basically, because it's like a very cheap electric car. Then here we have once again the Mianbaoche. This is 1 to 30. This is a little bit smaller than 1 to 32. And here, this is of course China Mail or China Post. And this is the classic silver version. Then here we have once again the basic car in 1 to 30 and 1 to 32. And I think this was rescaled again another time. So this is actually the Chinese police, with my local police here in Ningbo. And this is the Ningbo taxi, which is the local taxi here. This is actually an earlier version. As you can see here, the lights have been changed a little bit. Okay. Then we have, of course, the sports car, which is loosely based on whatever Ferraris and Lamborghinis or whatever. And then I have, of course, the Stahlhart Papercraft racing version of sports car, which is having all my sponsors, such as Uhu, which is the glue I use. Then here the software I use, Affinity, and Blender, and the CSME, of course. Then this is my university, and my Chinese bank. Yeah, and of course Stahlhart Papercraft. So this was a fun version to create. And then here, of course, I have the SUV, which is loosely based on Range Rover. And then the truck. And of course, this is the China Post version. And there are two versions, like one which is, you can build it without or with this additional wind thing. And yeah, so this is the truck. And then over here we have the buses again. So this is the city bus. And this is Ningbo city bus, like the bus which I see basically every day on the street. Although 812 is my birthday, December 8th. And then of course here is the bus with Stahlhart Papercraft design. So this is like the Chinese bus. If you can figure out what it says in Chinese here, I don't know if it's any correct. It's of course the automatic translation. Yeah, so this is the bus I would like to see, of course, you know, with and of course they have the models relevant for Chinese clients, right? So the Q5, the Long March, and the Chinese Gladiator, and the Beijing Drum Tower.
Let's look at some models my students have done. We start with the Mini and Mini EV. So this is actually Mini EV version which actually exists. Then Mini Cooper, which is my birthday one. This is a kind of racing one. Then this is a kind of Mini, which I think is nice. It's very futuristic. Then we come over to sports cars. So this was created in Blender, the texture, and then added on by hand, obviously. This is a more interesting painting. This is very basic, but cool. And then this sports car is, as you can see, this is a little bit, the shape of the front is changed a little bit, which actually looks also good. And then this sports car is one of the most creative ones. It derives a little bit, it goes away from the template, but it's the most creative of all the designs actually. Then the SUV is a very basic one. Again, another rather basic one, but yeah, interesting. Then this gets more creative with the eyes and the stripes and the stars on the rims. And then this is like the totally artsy version. And then this is, of course, the Mystery Machine as a van, so hand painted, right? And this one was huge. And this is another van, which is the Beauty Freedom. Okay, also hand painted. Then we have buses. This is again the more realistic one with the actual. So this is more like a coach bus actually. Also another coach bus. And then of course, then the two sides are mirrored. And this is another public transportation bus. And now we get a little bit more minimalistic, so the more minimalistic window, and it's pink. This is like a yellow, very, very minimalistic. Even more minimalistic, this is like, you know, the fashionable millennial beige colored bus. This is like constructivism, very reduced. Another one very reduced. And then we have hand painted, still with windows, and I don't know if that's rain or reflections on the windows. Another hand painted one. And then this is more like a mobile home than a bus, but very nice. And then here it gets a little bit more creative once again with the whatever that is on the side. And then this is the most fun one, which is like, it doesn't have windows anymore, but it has these huge illustrations outside. Unfortunately, it only has this one picture. And then trucks, finally, this one is more realistic. This one, again, a little bit more creative, hand-painted. And finally, this was turned into a fire truck. Let's look at the versions of the cars that are available from my website for download with my artwork. So the basic car in a white version, the basic car as Chinese police car, the basic car as a taxi from Beijing, the basic car as a taxi from Ningbo, which is actually where I live. Then we have the mini EV, and this is the white version. And because they are called macarons, so that's why they are named after flavors. So this is strawberry, this is matcha, and this is banana. And then we have the Mini Coopers, and of course the rectangle above the roof is how the roof looks from the top. So this is all white. This is red with a white roof. This is yellow with a checkered roof. And this one is blue with a Union Jack on the roof, and Union Jack's actually also on the rear view mirrors. Then we have the sports cars, so of course the white one. Then the red one, which is of course the classic color for sports cars. Hello Ferrari. And of course it's a racing car, which has many sponsors related to me. I mentioned that. Then we have the SUVs, so the white one. Then a black one. And because I don't know what other color to do, an ochre one. Or sand one. Then a minivan. This is white. Then this is actually the classic in China, because that's one you see the most, is silver. Then China Post, which is of course a mail company in China. And then this is Holala, which is a car rental company. And now the bus, again white one. Then this is Ningbo Public Transportation. This kind of bus I actually see every day. This is of course the bus I would like to see, which is again also a Chinese bus, basic Ningbo Public Transportation, but with an ad of my papercraft on them. And then the trucks finally. So this is white one, and actually two versions of the white one, because it has like this kind of here, there's like a text on the side and on the back. Because in China the trucks always need to have this kind of text on them. But if you want to have a white truck without, you also can get that. Then of course China Post again, and Shunfeng Express or SF Express, which is actually it's the best Chinese express company, if you ask me.
So those are the small cars. If you want to design them yourself, you can find the resources on my website papercraft.stahlhart.net. The design section, you can find the Blender files, and you can find of course the playlist with the tutorials in my YouTube channel. And you can find the models to download also on my website papercraft.stahlhart.net. And thank you for watching, and until next time.